today's Max Magazine, we're embracing our sweet tooth. We'll pop into a store where candy rules. Next, we'll meet a chef who loves creating sweet pastries. Then, we'll hop into an old-fashioned ice cream shop. Hello and welcome to another edition of Max Magazine. I'm Brad Grass. Remember that movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Hey, how could you forget it? Those 5 lucky kids who find their golden ticket and they get that fabulous, delicious tour of Willy's Chocolate Factory with lickable wallpaper, hey, and edible candy trees and chocolate rivers. Well, Saskatchewan may not have Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory, but today we're going to try and cover ourselves in as much sugary goodness as is deliciously possible. Today's episode is all about our sweet tooth. Let's go. Isn't this great? Our first story is about a woman who loves candy. I mean, she loves candy. She would go from convenience store to convenience store to convenience store on the search, the hunt for the candies of her youth. And when she couldn't find them, did she stop? Did it deter her? No. She started this place, Dessert Sweets in Regina. And if you look around, it's got candies from all over the world. Have a look.
I own Dessert Sweets. It's in the Cathedral area, and I specialize in retro candy, Dutch licorice. In the summertime I have ice cream, so I have like 40 flavors of soft ice cream and over 30 flavors of hard ice cream. My father-in-law owned the building, and there was just like an ice cream window at one point called Cone Busters. He bought the machinery when she decided to go out of business, and I just kind of lucked into it. But when I found out that I was going to be sort of taking over, and I knew I wanted to bring Dutch licorice in, that was like the #1 thing, and then Jelly Bellies, I knew that was, and then retro candy. Because like that was 11 years ago, and it was kind of starting to be a really big thing, so. Yeah, my customers are a huge range. I have from kids to, 75-year-olds. Kids are always just like, oh my God, and parents are like, oh my God.
Scorpions are in. Look! Look, Daddy.
No.
Look at those guys.
I know.
They're frozen. What happened to them?
They're in the candy.
He got frozen.
He did.
There's something about seeing candy from your childhood that just brings back memories. It really, like one of the things that I was really looking for was the wax sticks. That was one thing, and freshen up gums, like the gum that you chew and it has like liquid in it. Those were 2 things that I just like had to have. One of the most requested things are wig wags, and they don't make them under the name wig wags anymore, but we have curly whirlies. And those are the braided caramels covered in chocolate. It's like a big long chocolate bar. People always have memories about those. Usually they involve a car and really hot weather.
Show me.
It's a guy with brain.
Astro Pops, that's another thing that I haven't been able to get that for a long time, and I finally got them last summer. You always hear about how people bit down on it and their tooth came out because they're so sticky, and then people would suck them until they were really sharp. And then cuckoo bars, those are the flat Neapolitan taffy, and lots of people are looking for those too, so I have all that stuff. See, the Dutch licorice is really popular. I have like 30 different flavors, and whether you're Dutch or you're just a black licorice fan, people are usually pretty happy about it. The Jelly Bellies are really popular too, so I have like 40 flavors or something like that. And then I also have Jofafard chocolate cows, which you can't find anywhere else. The chocolate cow has nothing to do with me. It was my father-in-law's sort of brainchild, and he's involved in the art scene. And he wanted to come up with edible art to raise funds for Jane Turnbull Evans Memorial Fund for the Saskatchewan Foundation of the Arts. And he was friends with Joe. And as they were talking about the idea, Joe actually molded the cow out of clay. After quite a long search, they finally found someone to make a mold out of it, and Hardin House pours the chocolate. So yeah, we've had those for about 10 years, and we sold them at the National Gallery when Joe had his show there, big show there. So yeah, they're really fun. My personal favorite kind of changes all the time, but you can be pretty much guaranteed it involves chocolate or caramel or toffee. When people leave dessert, I want them to feel happy. It would be great if they can feel like a kid again. If I've given them that experience, then I'm really happy about that.
Don't you love that place? My favorite candy when I was a kid were Pop Rocks. Remember Pop Rocks? They just explode in your mouth. And she's got some in there. Yeah, I'll have to pop back in and get some. That place, I swear, is magical. As magical as the Cake Witch Cafe in Rostert, where they brew up their own delicacies.
There's a place for somebody like me to actually finally do what I'm really good at, being me. And I think that my customers appreciate that, and they are willing to follow me in my adventure about food and culture. I think it's amazing. For me right now, I'm in a position where I'm a little amazed actually at the feedback I get and the excitement, that people get excited about this. Oh my God, it's like, what? It's a cake. But there's so much, I'm learning also from my customers, my Canadian customers, that this is exciting, you know, that they want to learn with me, that they're willing to trust me in this and say, oh, can you tell me more? I actually made a German vanilla sponge roll, which we call a Biskuitroulade, and I baked it and I rolled it up tight. So I'm gonna actually prepare the filling for this one. And then we're gonna roll it open and put the filling in and roll it up again so it actually looks like a sponge roll. So then I use actually 35% whipped cream because that's really good whipping cream. I actually make my own vanilla sugar. By putting vanilla beans into sugar and letting it marinate all by itself. So then, in Germany, we prefer to put vanilla sugar into the whipping cream. And we actually don't eat it as sweet as people eat it here. So just a little bit to actually help the sweetness and the whipped cream come out. You need to whip it up slowly. If you go too fast about it, you whip all the air out of it instead of into it. This is now, okay. You have to be careful not to over whip it, otherwise it'll become butter. Yeah, so this is actually perfect. I'll just zest a little bit of lemon and orange into this. Oh, now I'm going to also zest up some orange, additionally to the lemon. The lemon actually helps bring out the orange flavor. Mm-hmm.
I'm learning.
The tips and tricks of the trade. So basically, you don't stir it, you fold it in. So that the air that you beat into the whipped cream doesn't come out again and collapse. So I'm adding 2 cans. Well, this is a large one, so I'm adding 2 cans of mandarin slices. And then I fold that one in as well. So when you make actually the sponge, You make it on a sheet, and then when it comes hot out of the oven, you actually flip it over onto a towel, how do you say that, laced with sugar, so that it doesn't stick to the towel too much. And then you roll it up hot so that actually it stays in place. And then when you unroll it, you have to do it carefully so it doesn't break apart too much. But you can see already that by rolling it up hot, you already have pre-made a shape, and it's gonna fall back into it easily. The guys in the kitchens where I work told me the difference between pastry chefs and cooks is we look clean all the time. And now I'm going to roll this up slowly, and I'm trying not to squeeze out the filling too much. So now it's on a cloth, because with a cloth it's easier to roll this up. Yeah, you can see I've been too generous with the filling. Ta-da! There's a pride involved in making food look good. Because, as we say in Germany, I don't know about French, but in Germany we have a saying that your eyes are actually eating with your stomach. So when you look at food, it has to, and it looks appetizing, your body reacts to it automatically. There's something that triggers you. As I said, when I see my photos that I take of my food, my cakes, even the luncheons, people are like, so that's fake, right? It's like, what do you mean it's fake? Well, you lacquered that. It's like, no, I made it. It was to order, or I made it for the cafe or for myself. And I took a picture when it was fresh, right away. And you don't need to lacquer it. So then they always say, really? It's like, you know, it's the method, the freshness of the ingredients, the freshness of the product, it all comes together. It's like an orchestra. It's in harmony, and then it creates something you can actually look at and you go like, yum. And now it's kind of all coming together now, where I can be an artist and I can invite artists into my little cafe now too and feature them. And I can actually do what I'm also good at, which is making the cakes and pastries and educate people about what's good food and ergo healthy food, actually, even with cakes. Quality ingredients, that's good for you. And it beats anything that's on the shelf for 2-3 weeks or 2-3 months at a time. So this is good food, and it makes people happy, which also in turn encourages me again to do what I'm really good at, which is just bringing it all together.
Oh, I love cake. All kinds of cake, Black Forest, sponge, what have you. You know what goes great with cake? Ice cream. And there's a place in Saskatoon called Homestead Ice Cream. It's been a cold treat hotspot for decades. In fact, the new owner is proud to carry on the Homestead tradition. And they've got flavors. You know what's fun to do at Homestead? Invent your own. They're always inventing wild, new, exotic flavors all the time. At last count, 275 flavors to choose from. And growing. And desserts? Crazy desserts. They've got a banana split there with 16 scoops of ice cream. Oh, it's wild. That is extreme flavor fun. Check it out.
When you were a kid, when you did really well at the piano recital, or you hit a home run in baseball, what did you do when you were done those awesome events? You would go to your local ice cream place and get an ice cream treat.
There you go.
The product just kind of sells itself because it's homemade and it's good, and everything here tastes how it says it tastes. So like lemon and blueberry, tastes like lemons and blueberries. This is the base mix for all the vanillas. This is where it all starts, and then eventually it changes into whatever you want it to be. This is flavoring, and it's going to make it taste like strawberry. Inside, the ice cream is being whipped, so it's cooling it down and whipping it into nice, cool, creamy ice cream. There's really nothing that you can't put in there. That's why when I go to the grocery store, it's like playtime in my brain for what can I throw in together, what can I do next. The only thing that limits you are things that would actually melt the ice cream once you put it in there, but that's it. You can put anything in. Like last year I came up with cucumber. I actually put real cucumber in there, plus some other things to make it taste like cucumber. And so, I mean, who would have thought of that, right? Dill honey, that was really good. Wasabi people really like, curry people like. Dill pickle people ask for that one quite a bit as well. And the tomato one, that's on the fence. This right here is 11-liter bucket of strawberry ice cream, one of our top 10s that are very popular here. Kids love the bright blue and the bright pink, and that's why they like the grape, because it's bright purple. And then who doesn't love cookie dough, right? And everyone loves cookies, so there's the cookies and cream one. Cookie Monster, chocolate ice cream with 4 different kinds of cookie dough. Peanut butter, oatmeal chocolate chip, white chocolate macadamia nut, and chocolate chunk. Fudgio is chocolate ice cream with a box of Fudgio cookies with a ripple of fudge. And Jenny's Super Chunk has everything in it, everything. Peanut butter, sprinkles, everything from the Avalanche bar, cookie dough, peanut butter, white chocolate flavoring, chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, you name it, it's in there. So you can't decide what you want, just go for the Super Chunks, it's got it.
Pecans in there as well.
Wow.
Yep.
Cool. That's got everything.
Cheesecakes turn out to be so good that I just keep different kinds of cheesecakes. Like I'll make chocolate and blue honeysuckle and cherry and strawberry, blueberry and blackberry, caramel and turtle cheesecake. So there's always a cheesecake spot.
Hey, I'm Becky. We're at Homestead Ice Cream, and I'm going to make you guys the dog's breakfast.
You get 14 scoops of ice cream, 6 sundae toppings, whipped cream, cherry, nuts, cookie crumbs, all topped off with a cherry. In August, there's a big competition. People come out, they see who can eat it the fastest, and it raises money for the new Dog Hope Rescue Foundation. And last year, 400 people turned out for it. There was this guy, Paul, who used to work here, and he's the one who, him and Lynn, I believe, are the masterminds behind it. That's the whole origin of the dog's breakfast. Thank you, Paul. The previous owner, I spent all summer with her. I was like her shadow, and I learned how to make all the ice cream, the brownies, whoopie pie, sundae toppings, novelties from her. But we spent the most of our time right here. Lynn here at the beginning, me standing here watching her, and then as I learned and felt comfortable and she felt comfortable with letting me do it, then I slowly worked into this spot, and now I'm here all the time. I actually used to live just down the street, like not even half a block, and I used to go to Homestead when I was in university, and the stars aligned, and here I am. And the pressure of taking over something that's established, huge. To know that almost like 90% of the people in Saskatoon know it, and then when you tell them that, they're like, you're the one that owns that, and you do this, and you do that, so cool. And so like lots of pressure, because that's a big thing to live up to. A lot of it with the store is the 50s theme in itself. So then when you walk into the store, it's just taking you back to when you were a kid. So if you are 70 years old, it's like, what do you remember getting with your grandparents? A banana split or an old-time milkshake.
There you go.
When you come here, it's just a matter of like fun, joy, sweet, it's linger, the atmosphere makes you all happy. I don't know how you can't be happy having ice cream.
Well, we've certainly sunk our teeth into a delicious theme on today's edition of Max Magazine, and I've learned one thing. When it comes to indulging your sweet tooth, it's more than just about the taste, it's about nostalgia. I mean, whether you're finding that delicious pastry or cake or experiencing exotic new flavors of ice cream to try out, it takes you back to your childhood. Remember your childhood when a treat was a treat, and the anticipation of that first bite was almost as good as the bite itself. Any way you slice it, it's a little bit of heaven. And kids, remember, moderation is the key, especially when you get older like me. That's it. Another delicious episode of Max Magazine. We'll see you next time.
If you have program ideas that you'd like to see on Local On Demand, write us at max.local@sasktel.com. Max Local programming is now available online at maxonline.sasktel.com.